Gentle Jones.
Howdy friends, my name is Gentle Jones. I live in beautiful Price's Corner, Delaware. Finest place in the world. And we're here at my house. We're going to talk about some records from Delaware. I got some rarities, some stuff you might have heard of, and probably something you haven't. And definitely things I think you ought to check out.
Before we go any further, what I want to do is, I want to tell people a little bit about what I know about this good brother sitting right here to my left. Earlier in his days, he is an accomplished and an award-winning skateboarder. He's also an award-winning and an established artist. I will not say hip-hop artist, I will say a fine music artist. From where I stood at and where I seen, I said, this is a brother that I had the good chance of meeting, that I admired. Where did you get your inspirations for where you picked your music or how you define your music? Because you have a very eclectic, I like to say very diverse musical palette. I think it's very well depth. Where did that come from?
Well, some of it got to do with how I was raised, but also, if I could jump ahead a little bit, when I was introduced to hip-hop, at that time, that was when a hip-hop DJ would play any kind of record. You might hear a funk record, a soul record, you might hear a punk rock or a new wave record in the party, you know, and everybody dances to it. So we maybe came up in a generation where a lot of things started coming together, or at least being something that we could find. I come from, you could say, musical family. My granddad played fiddle, he played piano, played guitar, he called square dances. My grandma could play guitar, sing, both of them sing just fine. So I grew up around music, and like anyone who goes to church, you grow up around singing music, yes. A lot of folks. So the other thing is that when I was a kid, they came out with something called music television, MTV, right? There's nothing like it anymore, but back then you had a window into the whole rest of the world.
Yes.
So beyond that, you know, when I'm a few years into elementary school, almost to junior high, roller skating was a big thing. And if you went to the roller rink, you would hear all kind of stuff. I remember when I heard Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick the Show for the first time was roller skating.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I was blown away. But I had already heard about hip hop at that time. I already knew about, you know, everything top 40. Breakdancing was real hot at the time. I always like good music, all type of records, and that's the kind of record that I want to make that shows, you know, the range of stuff that I enjoy.
Speaking of the kind of music that you like to make and the range of music that you are accustomed to, I myself have been listening to Gentle Jones for a while now. I can tell you about crop circles.
Okay.
I can tell you about churches.
Oh yeah,
churches. One of our favorites every time I get a chance to interact with them, rappers are jerks. Holy smokes, rappers are jerks. But the good brother right now has a new project. Ta-da! Wonders beyond belief. Good brother. Like I said, and I would like to tell you guys, he has a story about the day he became a robot. Check it out on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find fine standards of music, you will find Gentle Jones, Wonders Beyond Belief.
Thank you. That's nice of you to say. Yeah, here, take a look. I just got the record out in vinyl. It is on all the streaming services. I've been working on it for about 2.5 years, and I'm super proud of this one. I worked with, you know, some of my oldest friends, Jack Beasley, Sonic Wallpaper, he's out from California. Evil Styles is from Athens, Greece. Syph, he is from Dover in Delaware. I'm also working with a live band on some of these songs. And that's a real trio. Working with Joe the Butcher, Joe Nicolo.
Okay.
He did a bunch of stuff back in the day that
yes.
a lot of people have heard.
Yes.
Big records. He worked with Lauryn Hill, Billy Joel, Criss Cross. It's mostly hip hop, but yeah, I kind of think it's all rhythm and blues on some level. Like all of our pop music has got a formula that's from like the 1800s. You know, blues, from the spirituals, gospel music.
Yes.
It almost all came from the church.
Yes.
You're talking verse, chorus, you know. And if I listen to records as old as I can find them, and it's a lot of similarities from what's happening right now to what was happening then. You know, it's not that much has changed.
You know what, you're right. And something I picked up on that was so fascinating to me really in 2024 is right now in my hand I am actually holding a vinyl record. What? I'm like, okay, to make the music you make is one thing. To actually have it on vinyl, please tell me what was your thought behind that.
Well, first off, I listen to records at home. Okay? I have a collection of records, and that's my record player. We're in my house. Also, hip-hop culture, DJ is part of that culture, and having an actual record you can put your hands on, and it's a different experience. And also, a lot of my records that I listen to all the time are like 50 years old, 60 years old, you know, and they still play like the brand new.
I can attest.
Go dig out your CDR from 2002 and see if that thing still plays in your car, you know. Your tape player going to eat it, you know.
Right.
8-track tapes, no one can even play those, but records have been around 100 years, you know, and they still sound great. So I want to make a record because I feel like that's the best way to hold some music in your hand and take it home and it'll last. You can listen to it 1,000 times, it's still brand new.
Good brother, that was a hell of a perspective to put on it. I mean, a lot of people like to think that, I guess the technology makes the song better or sonically or phonically better. But for you to just put it down like that and let us know that, and it actually shows it and stands the test of time. If you look around, there are probably just as many, if not more, playable records than there are tapes, CDs. You know, CDs warp. I mean,
all my CDs got scratches because I rode around in my car, throw them in the seat. 57 CDs every time I left the house in the car. Unnecessary.
I remember them days with
the book.
The book. You're driving with your knees trying to get your favorite. It was a lot. It was a lot. But that was something I picked up on when I was, you know, I was like, this good brother actually has an album.
As a music listener, I know if I have that record, I can listen to it. If you go on Spotify, my favorite Anita Baker song is not on Spotify anymore. It was there last year.
Where'd it go?
I think she got her rights back, and so they took down, and then it got to go back up. But the point is that on the internet, that YouTube video that you were watching, or something on iTunes or Apple Music, it's no guarantee it's there next week. You put it on a hard drive, one day that thing is going to fall apart. But if you got it in a record and you put it on a shelf, it's going to sound fine for decades.
This man is dropping jewels for us, y'all. This man is dropping jewels for us.
Let me show you some of these fine records that I got here.
Oh, please. I was like, since we're on the records.
This is one of my favorites right here. So these are all folks from Delaware. This is Clifford Brown, one of the baddest musicians really to ever do it. Just a phenomenal player. These sections with Max Roach are from 1954. So that's before we're born.
Yes.
They still sound brand new. They still are super impressive. But he's from right here. You know, born just down the street, right downtown in Wilmington, Delaware. He passed away at 26 years old.
Very young.
Car accident on a Pennsylvania turnpike. And so he left us too soon, but the records are still here. And I recommend you go check out anything you find him on. But in particular, the sessions he did with Max Roach are whoppers. They're absolutely fantastic. To this day, very few people have reached this type of a height artistically. And the craftsmanship, this man's fingers were like little lightning bolts. He could play. For me being from where I'm from the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, I actually grew up 2-3 blocks away from what was originally called Poplar Street, but is now, and rightfully so, has been renamed Clifford Brown Walk. That's right.
So, and actually, I want to say 2 weeks ago,
the Park Jam.
I had the honor of actually running around and being able to take some visuals down in Clifford Brown area. You know, there's statues. There's an amphitheater. Mm-hmm. There's a building named after him with residency. Clifford Brown.
We still have an annual jazz festival.
Yes, we have an annual
Clifford Brown.
For Clifford Brown, for a young man who didn't live that long but left a very large impact on some people. I had learned that, you know, Quincy Jones was someone, they ran together, or maybe he was even Quincy's mentor.
He worked with so many people. He worked with Sarah Vaughan, Dinah Washington. I mean, he was the baddest. That's just my personal opinion, but around here, his name is known because he's from here. But other folks who haven't checked him out, when they hear his level of musicianship, I mean, this guy can solo.
Wow. Clifford Brown, man. I'm glad to say that I'm from that side of town where Clifford Brown Walk is been properly renamed. But to hear the music that he had, like the good brother talking about, and the impact that he left on people at the age of 26.
Yeah, he left us at 26. That's way too soon. But his achievements were as such that by then, he's unforgettable. He's a legend.
World-class musician at its highest of heights. And it just seemed like we lost him very soon. Way too soon. But Clifford Brown and Max Roach.
Yeah, this is 70 years ago, matter of fact. So 1954, we're talking 70 long years ago. This music still sounds great. Here's another one who left us too soon. This is Snuky Tate. Snuky Tate, also from Wilmington, Delaware. Okay, he passed away when he was 50. In the 70s, Snuky Tate was making punk rock records. Okay? He was also making R&B records, making funk records. This guy traveled to New York City, traveled to San Francisco, and he left a mark on the scene. A lot of people in Delaware have forgotten about Snuky Tate. But let me tell you this one right here. If you heard of the punk rock band The Ramones, the same year as their first album came out, he records this whopping ass 7-inch of punk rock, and punk rock is brand new. And brand new. Look at this man from Wilmington. Okay? He was so far ahead of his time. And I'm not saying this is just a guy from Delaware who made a record. This motherfucker is excellent. Excellent. And a legend to the people who've seen him. He passed away too soon.
Now that's something about being from where I'm from on the east side. A lot of people would think you wouldn't like that music or know about that music. I'm like, I know a little bit about that music, you know, and I can't say it was around all the time, but I'm not familiar with Snuky. But I need to get familiar with Snuky just because he was from around here. But I was also familiar with, you know, punk rock and different, you know.
But this dude is older than us. He's from the generation just before us. And also, these records is rare as hen's teeth. One of the reasons you're not going to hear from him is because if you don't got your hand on it, you can't find it. He's gone. He's gone. But he left a legend. He left a legacy. And I'm a fan of it. And I would recommend him to you. Another one a lot of y'all might have heard of. Look at this handsome fella. George Thorogood from Wilmington, Delaware. Mr. Bad to the Bone. So I love this guy. He's an excellent songwriter. He's a badass guitar man all around, but a local legend, you know. He's got top 40 hits. I think Bad to the Bone might have gone top 10. I don't recall. But when I was a kid, you would hear George Thorogood anywhere. People love this guy, and I do too. A friend of mine named Ruben, he's an excellent bass player.
Okay.
He told me a George Thorogood story many years ago, maybe in the 80s or something. He's about our age, and I guess he would have been like maybe 18 or 19. He saw George Thorogood on Philadelphia Pike in Claymont. He owned like one of the little strip malls with a bakery right there. It was when he had big money, you know. But it was like early in the morning, like almost dawn. He's like standing outside the bakery next to his muscle car, which is just warming up, and smoking a cigarette. My friend Ruben saw him, and Ruben was like, wow, George Thorogood, it is so amazing to see you. You are such an inspiration to me. It is.
Wow.
I'm so glad to see you. George Thorogood took a cigarette, flicked it in his chest, and said, I don't give a shit what you think, kid. Jumped in his car and fucking peeled out, made me dust. When Ruben told me that story, he was like, so fuck George Thorogood, I hate him. Dude, I laughed so much. I said, that is the best George Thorogood story I ever heard in my life.
Now that sounds like bad to the fucking bone.
It's motherfucking bad to the bone. And he was like, you're right. That's a great story. I like George Thorogood too.
When I was young, I heard that song so many times, so many different places.
Bad.
Exactly.
It's an iconic pop hit.
Did not know that man was from here until, I don't know, maybe my teen, maybe even my early 20s.
Yeah, he went to Brandywine High School off Falk Road, and actually, from what I heard, the teenagers that he grew up around were super dicks to him. Like, he would get beat up and stuff. Like, he had a hard time in high school.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't long after that before he was a fucking world famous star, you know? So,
oh, how the tides have turned.
I have massive respect for George Thorogood. All his records are good. Here's another one of Wilmington's finest. Disco Beave from the Projects. This is with Zam. Yeah. I mean, this one is from 1988, this particular press. But I'm Serving came out on a single in 87. I think that's the first Delaware hip hop record. I think Disco Beave is the first one to actually get it on wax. These records are whoppers, by the way. So I talked to DJs in Europe and other places that when they found out about Disco Beef, they were like, holy shit, this record is incredible. And it is a banger.
Yes, it is.
From the Projects, it's like 6 minutes long or 7. It's a long
song.
And he fucking rips it head to toe, the whole entire thing. I got a reissue of it too. I helped a guy put this together. Got Hall of Fame, I'm Serving. So he put out another single that I don't have for I'm Serving. He also did a single with Twin B a few years after that. It came out on a single. I seen a picture, but I never seen or heard the tape. But Disco Beef, fucking Wilmington's king of slang. I love this guy.
King of slang for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Rub your lip, you'll get whipped with a dookie rope.
What? Come on. If you were bass said I'm fresh out of grain. Now I can tell you, Disco Beef is now serving like in the city. There are certain songs, certain people. Okay, that song is here. That song is, you know, they're made songs. They're made men. Because when you look back at it, there were a lot of people who rapped, I guess, but when you make a song, when you actually make a song, and it's on wax, and people are like, "Oh, that's my man."
Yeah,
it means something.
It's true.
And then to actually have it be good.
Oh man, it's a dope record. The first time I heard it, I was like, "Wow, this is excellent."
It was. If you want to call it that, I know it was the #1 song in the streets, in the Wilmington streets at the time.
Oh yeah, he was a sensation.
Disco Beef is now serving. Yo, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
I heard he was legendary in the parks too. Just when people would get around and cipher.
Oh yeah. From what I've heard, Beave was someone. It seemed like it came very easy to him. From what I heard, I'm like, well. Disco Beef now from the Projects, man. Come on, man. Now I'm Serving, legendary in the city.
Yeah, the record still sounds great to this day too. And here's another one, probably my favorite one that came out from around here. Project X, Armed and Dangerous, masterminded by my personal friend, the young Pharaoh Grand G, the architect of this thing. Third Dynasty was the name of his group, and at first I thought this was a compilation of just groups, and Grand G was in Third Dynasty, which I thought was the best group. Later I learned Grand made almost all the beats on this, made the cover, cut out the letters, he did everything himself. Got it in the studio, got it mixed, mastered. So this isn't just a collection of local records. This is like a masterpiece of one of our finest artists out here in Wilmington, Delaware. So we got Grand G. There's also IOR, who they made their own record.
Yes, they did.
And Also, we've got Fred G, DJ F3. They still great.
They still doing it.
Mm-hmm. They still doing it.
Still doing it.
Silk and Satin. MC Isaiah. Riverside Bucket 2-6 was a hit. I think a lot of people to this day still recognize that record as one of I don't know if you would call it a street record because it wasn't on the radio, but everybody around town knew it.
That song is arguably the best song from Wilmington, anybody from Wilmington. When that's Riverside Bucket 2-6, the timing of it, because this album is off the chain for me, but that song right there captivated so many people because they was like, you know what, this is one of the first songs that says, yup, us.
Yeah. So this is what I had first. I had the tape. I had the tape. And it's got a different picture on the cover.
Right.
So this one is a group picture. This one is like Grand G with a brick phone. Look at that telephone, man. And that's like
and a Tommy gun.
Yeah, the Tommy gun. I don't know if the Tommy gun is real, but the phone is real. And that's like, at that time, that's like a $2,000 phone.
Yeah.
That was no joke to have that motherfucker.
Yo, Grand G. Grand G, man. That was that's my musical idol, man.
The greatest. Zeke the Freak.
Zeke's Crib. Do you remember Zeke's Crib?
I remember it, but nobody has a copy of it anymore. But it was the greatest public access television show in Delaware history. It was all music. It was Zeke and Grand and anybody else. I've seen some crazy stuff on that show. I can't believe it was on television.
I swear to you, when I was younger, like public access, it seemed like, they got a little bit grittier. They had things, I want to say there was a Crush video around the time with the funky president Mike Elliott. Mm-hmm. And there was another show that they used to play a lot of
Local Yokels. That was a Channel 22 show, I remember.
And when I used to see Zeke's Crib and see people actually knew and stuff, I was like, wow. These people are actually toe to toe with, Rap City, which was kind of new at these times,
Right. It was brand new. It was brand new.
Right,
you weren't even hearing it on the radio at that time. If you knew about hip hop, you were in on a secret.
Exactly. I'm like, these people, to come that far and to have something that's standing right next to everybody else that everybody else hears and sees all the time, I'm like, that was so remarkable.
It's true.
And then to find out that my musical idol, he put so much into it, like, wow, man, Grand Funky, he already know. I gave him his flowers 10 times over. But yeah, man, Project X.
Yeah, to me that was the high watermark. Like if you wanted to come out, you had to be as good and have a complete package. And they even had, here's the singles of Third Dynasty, Gots to Get Funky right here. So that's one of my favorite songs. Grant's still a great musician now. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah. So here's the IOR single that they pressed up themselves. Seconds of a Dope Run.
That exact. No, when you turned that over, I was like, oh no, I had this one.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Also, Silk and Satin. So a friend of mine, Darius, I think Satin is his aunt, and so he was always bragging on her. But I was like, yo, I love Silk and Satin.
I loved him at that time.
Also from the Project X project.
Exactly. At that time, man, all them women, what I'm saying? I was loving all those women. Silk and Satin, Finesse and Quiz, Sweet Tea. I was loving all, because I was like, if you could rhyme and you was fly, Salt and Pepper, you got a little bit better over, somebody who's just pretty. You can pretty and you rap. You got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah, Grand G had a whole team.
Yes.
It could have been like the Juice Crew. It could have been like Wu-Tang. I mean, they had a bunch of class acts. They had a whole stage show. If you go on YouTube, you can see some of the old performances down from the Christiana Riverfront. And yeah, he's just one of my favorite dudes. He's one of my favorite dudes regardless of the fact that he made an amazing record. He's a rad guy. But his record, check it out if you can find it. You can go on Spotify and listen to it for free.
Yes, you can.
But you want to find an actual record, good luck. So Grand G, one of the first guys from Delaware hip hop that people overseas found the record. So people found a Project X record in Japan and in England, and the prices went crazy. I seen on eBay there was one a dude in England sold to another dude in England. It was like $2,000. Like,
wow.
And it was an old rough copy too. Like, that's how rare, and the price is expensive because it's just an excellent record and people love it.
That's awesome. That is something about the overseas faction over there. I know a couple guys, my guys Flex and Hated, they have gotten picked. Some guys contacted us from Germany, like, yeah, we rocking you out here in Deutschland. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that shows to me, people that I know, or people from my area that I may not have known, but they, that have made music. I'm glad to see that it's went so far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's one of the greatest accomplishments and greatest things that you can have is your music to be, or something you put out.
Go across the world.
To grow across the world,
Yeah, further than you thought when you made it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So here's another one. Doc D and Cut Wiz. You see this one, that picture is right on Market Street out front the bank. This is a dope single. I also got another one, the Time to Move single. They got Enough Respect. But Hitting Harder Than King Kong is...
Hitting Harder Than King Kong?
So Wilmington has a rap style, in my opinion. Okay, so I don't know if everyone recognizes this, but there is a rap style, the way that people sometimes are hollering and the rhythm to it and stuff. There is a tone to Wilmington MCs that is not done in Philly, it's not in New York, it's not in Baltimore, it's our own, and this one is an excellent example. Everybody had a little bit of that flavor. What do you know about Doc D and Cut Wiz?
Doc D and Cut Wiz from over South Bridge.
Okay.
They used to, like, you were speaking to the styles.
Yeah, that's just something random. That's not saying this guy is like the definitive one, but he also had that style.
I would say Doc D was probably one of the forefront of the people, doing push-ups. And that I know exactly what you're speaking of. Disco Beave had a little bit.
It's a little hard edge to the style that
right.
Other people did not have.
Right, there was a you could pick it up if you was from Delaware because that was sort of kind of your flavor.
Yeah.
Your kind of how you talk in a day-to-day basis per se.
Yeah.
And that was something I said, there's a vernacular or diction way, there's some way, the emphasis on some words that we say around here.
It's a certain true. Type of way. There are some.
So to hear people who were some of the, cutting edge of slang and just, like, oh, okay, to hear them say the words that we say and then the way that we say, like, only people from around here could really define that or see that, so that keen eye, good brother, keen eye. But there was definitely something, a different cadence, switch up, emphasis.
Yeah, we had our own cadence and our own tone. Everybody had their own style, but there was something about Wilmington that I liked. That's the kind of tone that I like, the kind of energy.
Skedaddle, skadoodle, you soft like a noodle, lockjaw like a pit bull poodle.
Yeah.
I know exactly. That's what we talking about. Well, that's what he definitely brought up, and I'm like, Doc D, he definitely exemplified that Wilmington style. Yeah. That Wilmington style.
Sure. And he made some waves. Not only did he make records, but he was out doing shows and stuff like that. So this is 1989.
Yeah.
I was in high school when this came out. Doc D, I don't know where he is. He's in the witness protection program.
I know a lot of these people.
That's the rumor, but I'm pretty sure that's...
Oh, I have no idea if that's true or false. Okay, well...
That's what I heard. Probably true.
Okay.
Here's another one, Twin B. So this is also, we're talking 1987. So I think Beave came out just a little bit before Twin B's record came out, but this is one of the earliest hip-hop records out of Wilmington in Delaware. Also, there was, before this came out, Twin B is actually a twin, and Twin A was his twin brother, passed away.
Tragically.
I didn't hear about that. I didn't know why he passed.
Ooh. Story time. We're speaking on Delaware hip hop, and you, like you say there, he had Twin B, and you have Twin A, Mark and Mike.
Okay.
Marcus and Michael, if I'm not mistaken, and they were a rap group. And they were making waves, so to speak. But you have gangs in the city, so to speak. Right. So when these guys are making waves and it's more on the positive, you know, more on the brothers, don't do that, you know, you destroying your people, or because these good brothers used to be on Channel 22, giving the message up. And unfortunately, from what I hear, there was a gang, well known, a lot of people know them, and they were known back in the days, probably the most popular gang back in the days, Yayo Boys.
Okay.
Allegedly, this is the story, allegedly. And from what I hear, let's just say that when they ran across one of the brothers one day, and there was an altercation, and Twin A didn't make it out the other side of the altercation.
Damn. And so it goes. The record's still here, and Twin B's still around.
Yes, he is.
I don't know where y'all can find him, but he is still around. And that's a great record. Here's another one. Here's another Delaware record, straight from Cage.
Ooh.
The Birdcage is in the Bear area, Newark area. This is one of the illest records that ever came out of Delaware. Poets Giving Criticism, the instrumental and the original and a radio version is just 4 minutes and 47 seconds. But this record right here, about 20 years ago, a mixtape DJ in Japan put this on his mixtape. Didn't label it, didn't say what it was. This was like a secret weapon record for him. And then suddenly there's this underground group of diggers went looking for this. The crate digger DJs.
Okay.
We're like, what the fuck is this record? This is before streaming, before you could Shazam and put your phone up to a record and find out what it was. It took some guys years to figure out what this record was. And in the meantime, if you found it on eBay, it would sell for like $1,400.
Get the fuck out of here.
For a single. And sell to someone so far away you would never see it again. So these are rare as hen, Steve. This one, Mike Cannon, who is a DJ, shout out Mike Cannon. This was his actual show record that he would use when they were performing, and he was spinning. So you can see he got like little tape to mark the areas. You can see this is like a well-loved record. So, but it was the only one he had. And
man, you got history right there in your hands, man. History.
And Pooch, I love. Pooch, I think, is one of the most brilliant writers.
Shout out to Pooch, man.
From Delaware. Hands down, one of the most brilliant writers. In his time, he was as good as anybody. He's still dope. He's still a great writer. He also got a voice. You know, the first time...
He's got a package.
Yeah, the first time you listen to this record, and I've got some other ones here too. This is a reissue, straight from Cage with Night Stalker and Last Supper. Also, I got Cage and York Diesel Wreck on the Set, which I got the cassette tape to that one too still. So these are pretty rare.
Man, get out of here, man. I be with this good brother, man.
Shout out Yorky D.
I tell you like this, the good brother still got bars. I just saw the bars last week.
Yeah.
He still got it. He still got it, y'all. Yorky D, a.k.a. Timeless Thomas, he still has it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Pooch, one of my favorites. I think he could have gone the distance.
This is one of my favorite Delaware songs as well.
Night Stalker, I love.
Yo. Pooch is killing it. And then when you're coming with his energy, yo, I'm like...
Yeah, this one's a classic. This one's an absolute classic. So here's some others that a lot folks might not have heard of. The Mischievous LQ and the Mad Mischief Crew.
Now hold on. That sounds familiar.
So this is also from Wilmington. So we got Live by the Dollar, Wilmington's Worst. Here's Bradshaw over Kale. So this one's from 1996. This is a reissue. So Shotgun. Mischief Night is the night is the song that most people might have heard from these cats. Mischief Night is a pretty hot one. It's basically like the night before Halloween rap record. I think this is a classic. So I got a couple copies of that. Midnight Bully also put out a pretty cool single. Not a lot of folks have heard of them, but that's something I recommend that you check out. The Barons, another group from Wilmington. This is a punk rock group. Actually, I made some songs with them after this particular record. This is a good record. I'm like the third singer in the band. They've retired since then, but they're a great group from around here. Got some 7 inches. Infection is another hardcore punk group. Infection from North Wilmington. These guys are world class. This little record right here is a whopper. People still discover it. The guy Sean Pierce was a singer for them. Went on to do a group called the Toilet Boys, which are legendary in New York for having stole the sign off the top of CBGB's.
Okay.
And one day they came and it was gone, and it was them. Marcus Hook, another great heavy band from around here. Beelzefuzz, one of my best friends, Pug, one of my old skate buddies, he plays bass on this. This is a good metal album. They got a record deal in Europe, so they got to go tour. And look at how nice this record is.
Now one thing that I was always,
he still gets checks from this, by the way. My friend still gets checks for royalties from this record.
and that was one thing. A lot of the groups that you and the acts that you speaking of, they have gotten a lot more fame and recognition. We'll say across the borders. Not even across the borders, but
outside the area.
Yeah,
it's
outside
true.
the area. You know, I mean,
we've got Stormwatch, Boy Sets Fire. I can't even list all of the excellent bands like Walleye that have come from around here that people know overseas.
And that's what I'm saying. There's so many bands, acts, artists that so many other people know. Like, man, these guys are dope. These women are dope. We're like, who, Charlie? You know, from around the corner. I see him with his bass guitar. You know, sometimes like, you know, like, do you know he's playing, he's jamming in Bucharest, as I like to say, like.
Yeah, some of these cats actually are still to this day doing festivals in Europe for a few weeks out of the year and come back and go to their regular job, and folks around here might not even know who they are.
Yeah.
Woz, this fella's older than both of us. This guy is an amazing keyboard player. He plays accordion too. He's a jazzy, he's psychedelic, he's atmospheric. He in the 80s scored this horror movie soundtrack for Fiend.
Here.
Woz is one of my favorite dudes. I'm going to record with him next weekend over at his house. He lives off Franklin. But he's not only a legend, he is a hidden gem. He still plays around here at more places than you can shake a stick at.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he's such a badass. He's in his, I think he's mid-60s or something like that.
Paul Woznicki.
Yeah, Paul Woznicki. One of my favorite dudes. A brilliant player. And a delightful man. Now, that's not all the records from Delaware. We don't have time for all that, but these are some of my favorites and my own personal collection.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, folks, for taking our journey with us. He's turned me on to so many different things, but as he's done with me, I want to do with you and turn you guys on to what the hell is right in front of our eyes and right in our area, man. These are award-winning bands and acts that
they're world class. They're as good as anybody at the time that they were putting out these records. World
class, industry standard, standing right next to people, and we haven't known anything or knew an inkling about any of these or some of these acts. And I'm glad I know good brother General Jones. I'm glad he has taken me through this. I know this is just the beginning. So people, if you will, continue to follow us on this musical journey. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.